now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got the big hitter in the house, Mr. Chris Cimino. Chris.
Oh, I thought Roker was here for a second when you said that.
Oh.
I mean, not yet, not yet.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. This is kind of a different perspective for me. Watching the snow beautifully falling out my window here. I'm sorry, I apologize if there's a little bit of an echo. I just moved in. There's not a lot of furniture or things to absorb the sound, but
you have had a lot going on. You have had a lot going on the last 6 months.
Yeah.
We're going to see if this is taking. Let's see if they can hear us. I'm starting to get some comments in. Hi, John. Well, we got Chris Cimino here as well, folks, and yes, that's Chris. Chris, people are saying hello to you right now, as I can see the comments here. And Chris and I, as you guys know, we worked together at the other station, WNBC, for over 12 years. And Chris, honestly, it was a pleasure to work with you, a man of talent and just your excellence at what you did and what you still are going to do.
You're being very kind. And I thank you for inviting me today to be part of this. This is fun. This is a whole different approach to it. Quite honestly, I like it. It's much more relaxed. We have the ability to speak a little more freely in terms of the forecast itself. So I'm excited about this. And snow was the reason I got into meteorology. I think much like you.
Yeah,
correct.
The blizzard in the 70s. Definitely.
Yes, I'm going to date myself. Yours was in the 70s. Mine was 1969. It was called the Lindsay snowstorm in New York.
Yes.
But now to see it from this perspective it's fun. It's sort of the little kid in me is coming out again. Just watching this thing evolve today, which is what I think people want to hear us talk about.
Absolutely, Chris. And I'm going to try to put up a comment and see if this works. We're using this offer for the first time, and John Moran is saying, "You guys look delicious." Whoa. Okay. Hey, listen. I'll take the compliment.
It's early though. It's only 1:30. But anyway,
is it only 1:30?
I don't know.
Anyway, listen. Chris and I, again, former colleagues. We've been friends for almost 2 decades. He and I both got let go from that station, and that has not stopped me. Nor will that stop you, Mr. Cimino, with whatever is in your plans. But we're going to talk a little bit about weather here, and it's coming down. I live out in Western Jersey, and I'm looking out the window here. It's coming down pretty good. What about you in your neck of the woods, or that's as Al Walker would say? I'm
in the Riverdale area right now, actually in the southern end of the Bronx, and probably within the last hour or so, it has really picked up in intensity. It was more like a snizzle most of the morning and early afternoon, but then those big fat flakes started getting going. And you could really tell that this thing is starting to get going offshore. This is that classic secondary development, which is the thing that leads to loss of and white hair for any meteorologist. I mean, let's be honest. How many times have we, sometimes we've nailed it perfectly, and other times, boy, you're chasing it. You're just chasing it.
This is a high bust potential even at this hour. I mean, now it's now casting and following the radar bands. I just want to ask our viewers, if guys, the first time we're going on with this, can you hear us? Okay. So if somebody could comment only that. Only raining in Brooklyn. Now, hold on a second. Here we go with a comment.
Must be the South Shore of Brooklyn.
Hold on. My 2 favorite meteorologists, John. Oh, stop it. Chris and I are both the same level. Stop. Hold on. She just said, well, that's because I went to school with this girl. Elena, Chris, in Brooklyn. What is she saying? She's saying it's still raining there in Brooklyn.
Really? She must be on the south side of like Coney Island, right along the water, maybe?
Yeah, possibly. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to squish you down a little bit and see if I can.
Please, go to the maps, will you?
I'm trying here, big guy. Hold on, I'm trying here. Let's see what happens. Oh, they got to go to the window. Listen, this stuff is all high tech.
This is new technology on the fly for us, yeah.
It is on the fly. Oh, here we go, this side. Now, let's move this over. And I'm going to...
There goes Cimino. No!
All right, real quick, Chris, I see you. I know this is silly, but what we're talking about, Elena in Brooklyn said right there, it's still raining. She, Chris, as you can see, this map is on the cusp of the rain-snow line. This storm is developing right now, or continuing to redevelop, because upper level low pressure is catching up to it, over portions of, let's say, the Atlantic waters east of Ocean County. All the blue back to the west. You can see the moderate to heavy snow falling. Question is, the back off or the cutoff line is just south of Hunterdon County and near the Trenton area. Will that fill in? Chris, I'm going to put you back in here.
Yeah.
It's tough to really pinpoint this, isn't it?
It is, and when a storm is just developing, as this one sort of is, where the energy is finally catching up to what we call the surface low pressure, you really don't know exactly how broad that precipitation shield is going to blossom in that sort of that southwest or northeast axis. And as you've been talking, and I watched you last night, these types of systems really create these very narrow bands of very heavy snowfall. Problem, where are they set up? That's not the easiest thing to forecast in the world. I mean, these bands sometimes are no more than 5 miles wide, maybe 10, and that could make the difference of getting 3 inches of snow in an hour, and either side of that, everybody else gets maybe an inch or less. So that's why these accumulation forecasts, boy, this is a tough one.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one because we have the upper level low. Where does that moisture pivot and set up? And it looks like it's starting to just trying to pivot around the New York City area. And again, coming back down through central Jersey, a buddy of mine just texted me in Trenton. Is it a bust or is it not? And honestly, we can't give you that answer right now because some of this may drift back down a little bit to the south.
Sure.
One quick question here, guys. We need to know if you can see Chris and I and the weather map behind me. If somebody could comment on that, that would be great. John, what happened to the beard? No Shave November is over. I appreciate that comment. But if you can, actually, you know what? I can go on my Facebook page right now. We're doing this on the fly.
Trying to check that out.
Yeah, let me check that out. The internet connection is good enough down here.
Wait. I don't know what I'm exactly getting here. I'm only seeing a couple of comments.
No, we're on, big guy. We have
Okay.
we have 145.
But I'm not hooked in with your.
That's okay. We're gonna take care of that. Let's just get back to this really quick. We're gonna put in the HRRR, which is the one of the short-term computer models that does very well some of the time with these type of situations, and we're gonna put that into motion over the next, I think, 12 hours at least. Let's see if we can do that. Now, here it is, Chris. Now, New York City is right there. Here's all this area of heavy blue, which is heavier snow. Here's the rain off the coast. Let's watch what happens in time. I may just step out of the way for a second. Okay, here's the New York City area. Notice the heavier snow. That's where we're going to up the amounts in the New York City vicinity. Look what happens in South Jersey. I mean, does this really actually come to fruition?
Right.
It's
now this loop, by the way, is what, a 3-hour loop, or is it?
It's every hour through 4 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay. Now it's advancing.
Now it's tapering off at 4 a.m. We can put that back into motion.
But if you looked at where that area of dark blue was set up, which is the areas that are going to see snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour, it was in the vicinity of right around the city and northeast New Jersey.
Good thinking, and that's why this next map. Yeah. I'm going to try to shrink you down. I love you, man, but let me just show this to everybody.
Please do. Get rid of Cimino. It's all right. Here he goes.
All right. So Chris and I put our heads together in the last hour and said, you know what? Let's give the city a 3 to 6 inch bullseye. 3, 6. Chris, obviously the colder surfaces. This is through tonight, ending, before 5 a.m. Right? We're pretty a good agreement with what we've just seen with the latest computer guidance.
No, everything seems to be falling into place. But like you said, we always have to watch these things that are still in the development stage. This isn't taking a storm from point A and moving it to point B and saying, well, it did this there, it'll do this here.
Exactly.
This is becoming its own storm now. And so we're right underneath that development. And it's very, very tricky all the time. We're in terms of where the heaviest band's going to, the problem over the years, now that I can say all of this right now publicly.
Give it to us, Chris.
No, but the point is, when you bust on a rain, if we said, John, it was going to rain, and we said there's going to be some heavy rain, and instead of an inch or an inch and a half of rain, we got a third of an inch of rain.
Yeah, or 3.
People would say, but let's go the other way, a third of an inch, because people would go, well, they said it would rain, it rained. But if that were snow, that would have meant we would have forecasted up to 15 inches and only gotten 3.
I agree.
And the magnification of how delicate a forecast is when it comes to precipitation, really, with snow, and that's the thing that everybody reacts to, let's be honest. And this thought process that we can nail every neighborhood exactly what the accumulation is going to be. I think we're not quite there yet with it. But
no,
it's all about a trend more than anything else.
I totally agree. Listen, and everybody's like, well, it's really coming down good now. Everybody tells us, wow, you guys predicted 2 inches, but we got 6, or it's the other way around.
Right.
And I'm being nice in saying this. You try doing this. It's the atmosphere is always moving. There's an element that takes us by surprise. And that's going to happen today. Somebody's
Oh,
going to
sure.
get more.
Somebody will. Right.
Somebody's going to get less. Will that snow fill back over central New Jersey? Possibly. I mean, these are it's micro managing the atmosphere with the nowcasting and the banding of radar and telling the viewer what's going to happen. I mean, right now, this is our generalization of what we think is going to happen. A general 3 to 6 inches of snow, pockets of 6 north and west. They already have 4 up there, 6 plus, excuse me. Long Island, eastern sections, they're just not in that deformation band. They're not there where it's setting up right now over the city. Okay.
They may end up picking up that 1 to 3 inches probably between 10 o'clock tonight and early tomorrow morning.
Absolutely.
I think during the day they're fine. I think that the issue, though, how this storm impacts people in general and our behavior. Now, a lot of us got home safe already. A lot of things you were saying, a lot of things shut down by 1 o'clock, and some schools already closed. But there were people who had to go to work this morning, and the roads were fine.
Oh, you know what, though, Chris? You know, if they were listening, I'm not saying if they were listening. Let me take that back. Sometimes individuals, they hear what they want to hear, and I'm not being negative in saying this, but it's true. You know, forecasting last night, I knew we'd wake up this morning and there'd be pavement on the ground. You know what I mean? The pavement would be there; it would be snow covered. It's tough to get through to everybody, and I've got a new version of Java available. Remind me later. Okay. Here we go. Here's a good question. Do you have an idea when it will end? Thinking about school tomorrow, snowing hard in Warren County. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I mean, by tomorrow morning, it will more than likely be out of there. Maybe a flurry left over 4, 5, 6 a.m., the latest, and I don't even think that would be the case. But the issue becomes, again, what are the conditions of the roads? And are they willing to take buses out? Will there be a delayed opening or will there be no school? I mean, that's always a tricky call that we as meteorologists can only tell you what the weather scenario is going to be like. Then it's in the hands of school districts and bus drivers and people like that to decide, hey, is it safe enough for me to do this? I could say, and I think you could say pretty confidently, early tomorrow morning in Warren County, I think it's pretty much shut down.
Yeah, I mean, in
terms of the snow falling out of the sky, shut down.
Yes, it won't be snowing in Warren County at sunrise. Eastern Long Island, possibly, yes.
Possibly.
It's all about the sanitation on treating the roadways and also the districts. Listen, I'm going to say this. When we went to school, and on a day like today, we would have had probably an early dismissal. Mm-hmm. You know, it is what it is, and I get the liability. I get the liability.
That's what it's really come down to.
And Yolanda Taylor is saying she can see us and hear us perfectly. Thank you. Well,
Thank
that's
you,
good.
Yolanda.
That is good to know. I'm going to take some more.
But she wanted to see us and hear us perfectly. No, just kidding.
I'm going to take some more comments for you, Chris. Let's see what I'm just scrolling through. Nice to see you both again. Thank you. Yes, Brian Hoffman, thank you for that. You can see the map and the two of us. Can see the map and two of us. Well, that's good news. That's good news. Goodness gracious.
So we have to take.
They miss you. They miss you in the mornings on NBC, Chris. I got 2 of those that popped up. Yep, just now.
I miss them as well, but I don't miss getting up at 2 a.m. I have to be honest.
Chris, does it not feel good or what? I mean,
well, it's like playing hooky for 5 months now. When you work that shift, you did it to a degree. I did it for 20 somewhat years.
Crazy.
It owns you. So this is kind of, I'm decompressing still at this point and deciding, where I want all of this to go. This is fun though, because now I'm playing with the weather, so to speak, like I did when I was younger. So there's not the pressure of get this done in 30 seconds.
Right.
Throw the live shot out here. Oh, the live shot's not there anymore. Come back to you. Oh, wait, we don't have the right graphic behind me. It's this is much more comfortable and hopefully more informative, because I think the thing you and I both like about this, want to generate out of this, is that back and forth connection with the audience and having a conversation as we're delivering the information.
Listen, Chris,
yeah.
I honestly, and to our viewers out there, we thank you following. We're just opening up the discussion right now. What time is it? It's 2:00 in the afternoon on a Monday, December 2nd, with a nice snow falling right now. We'll get back to the weather in a second. It's just, I think this is sort of the wave of the future with what's going on with what we're doing right now. How this all evolves, I have no idea. Everything started with it. Chris, everything started with an idea.
Sure.
People are saying, we miss you, Chris. Good seeing you. John shaved, yes.
John finally shaved. Nobody seems to. I went 1 week and I couldn't take it. I don't know how you went the entire month.
Do you know it kind of got to me a little bit. But you had to trim it down a little bit. I didn't want to, it started looking like I was a mountain man.
Yeah.
So let's get to
this.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and that kind of thing. Certain people don't like you getting too close to them with that after a while.
My certain person didn't mind.
Oh, good.
Yeah, my certain person didn't mind. Here's Richard.
Like
Richard in Monmouth County. He's saying 14 minutes ago, let's get this thing cranking. It's been some solid snow the last 2 hours in Monmouth County. It's cranking, and that's why, Chris, down through Monmouth County, as you can see, just give me a second, bear with me with all this. I'm going to get out of the way. We've put them into 3 to 6 inch range. Mm-hmm. We've added them. Due to the fact that the radar is just showing this snow, it's going to come here, there you go, and this moisture pivoting around through the area. So again, what we're thinking is moderate to heavy snow for the next few hours. I think the evening commute in untreated surfaces will be quite treacherous. Rough. Yeah, quite treacherous.
I mean, visibility is going to be down too.
Yeah,
so,
central and southern New Jersey, as you can see, I think you will get into it. I think it's going to be sort of on the back end of the storm. Once that upper level low starts pivoting around and the wind blows in the upper levels of the atmosphere from the north.
Yeah, you'll see a wraparound part of that moisture going.
Yeah, Chris, and correct me if I'm wrong here. We're thinking that this will fill in. Let me just move this in for 1 second. We're thinking, I see you, big guy. We're thinking this will fill in a little bit as all of this energy pivots around, correct?
And also to note, yes, over the water right now, that is rain. But if you see those returns, those oranges and reds, that's moderate to heavy precipitation. Once the cold air gets involved in that will translate into some very heavy snow for somebody. Where exactly those bands set up, that's going to be the key. But this is not about the storm is not developing. It is developing. You can clearly see that on the radar by those returns coming back. But,
and Chris, you know what? Quite an unusual system, because I showed this yesterday. This low, which has been off Cape May, Ocean County by about 50 miles, isn't going anywhere for the next 5 to 10 hours.
Right. It's almost been captured by the upper levels.
Exactly. It's redeveloping. Another comment, Stacy, 15 minutes ago. John, kids just got off the buses here in Bridgewater, already asking how much. Well, I'm glad your kids actually went to school. And can they go sledding? Yes. It's sticking now. It's coming down good now. The sun angle, there wasn't an issue because it's December 2nd. It's about the lowest in the sky it's going to be. So we've had some cold temperatures, and it's coming down pretty good right now. Anything else we want to talk about, big guy? What do you see coming your way down the pike? You mentioned something, what we're doing right now. We don't know what that answer is right now with this, but I think it's a good idea. What else is down the pike for you, Chris?
Well, I would say the thing that's been most overwhelming to me upon leaving has been the audience and their response. One thing that's in the time we live in the age we live in of social media, there are a lot of negative things that come out of it, but there's some very positive ones as well. If I disappeared on July 2nd like I did, and social media didn't exist, I probably wouldn't have heard a peep from viewers. Yep. The outpouring of love, genuine love and caring, just really blew me away. You go out there every morning, you go into a studio, you work with your crew, and we were a family, certainly, Darlene, Michael, and Lauren, and then a handful of behind-the-scenes crew people. We don't even have cameramen in the studio, so it's a very kind of isolated little group every morning. We don't see the audience. I don't know if they're laughing at a really bad, corny joke that I say every morning. Making that connection, I only realized to the full extent, when I started seeing after posting things on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I have to be honest, it really was emotional. It was, I called it living through your funeral. When you go to a wake and everybody talks so wonderful about the person who's just passed on, hey, he's a great guy. Oh, she was wonderful. Did you ever tell them that? And lots of times we go, oh, we didn't.
Why didn't
I died, but I'm still alive. I got to hear all the good stuff. So it's it's an eye-opening experience. It was a very positive experience. As to where this is going, I think viewers know. I love traveling. What are you doing there? I'd love to do stuff with travel and thunder snow. Oh, they want to know if there's going to be any thunder.
Is that why? Oh, I'm sorry, but Chris, no. But
I can see that.
Wrap up with what you're saying. It's important because you get such a connection with the anchors that you worked with. That camera and that audience whether you thought it was one person or 1 million, you were giving your
Right.
heart every morning, and you were great at what you did, and still are going to be great at what you're going to do.
But yeah, I mean, and I think that connection, sometimes you lose sight of that. But this experience has really got me to understand, wow, I didn't realize I had that kind of an impact on a daily basis in people's lives. And it's wonderful. And I would like to do something, again, relating this way. I'm not sure. Like you said, I'm not sure. I mean, we're doing this today. We're dabbling. As I said, I'm putting my toe back into the weather forecasting waters.
I'm going to get you right in. I'm pulling you, baby.
So we'll see what happens. But, I've known you for years.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable working with you. We've had a good time. We've always, there were some very funny moments in the Weather Center at NBC over the years. And hopefully some of that that's all good, all well-behaved.
Yes.
But some of that I hope can translate to something like this. And,
Chris, on what you're saying right now, Shelley is saying this is a thrill seeing you both together. And thank you, Shelley. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's see what else we got here. You there, Chris?
I'm here.
All right. Well, you know what? No, it was my heater that went off. Never mind. Here we go. Cancel the cable. You get all the info you need right here. Mr. Hoffman, you may be onto something, sir. You may be onto something. Chris and I, listen, I have about, in New York City, I don't know, 22 years. Wait, hold on. No, I was Roker's producer behind the scenes for 3.
Oh gosh.
I don't know, let's say I have 25 years experience in New York City. What do you have?
Yeah, I actually pretty well. If you want to count the years I worked for
radio, whatever it may be,
radio and WABC in New York, radio and Metro Weather and CompuWeather, I'm probably looking at 33, 34 years. Amazing. It's funny you bring that up, by the way, because I think I was in, I want to say maybe Cincinnati or maybe Scranton. You called me. You were still a weather producer, but was your first job in Savannah, somewhere in Georgia?
My first job was in Macon,
Not Savannah, Macon, Georgia.
Macon, yep.
And I think you called me either right before you took that gig or something, and I believe I was in Scranton, Pennsylvania, WNEP. And then you went to Scranton for a while, correct?
I did. I went to the other station, CBS affiliate,
WYOU,
which closed down. BRE,
yeah.
Who the heck knows?
BRE merged with YOU.
Yes.
But it's a small world, so I've kind of known you even before New York.
Oh yeah. I mean, Chris and I, even though we, we're like TV brothers, if you will, and people do think we look alike, but I don't know. Whatever. I guess we got that Mediterranean colored olive skin going and the dark hair, and you know what it is. It's charming. There's a passion here. We're not hyping anything. We never nothing in life. We're just a couple of guys that love what we do and kind of got lucky. Things got thrown our way, and things got thrown my way. Listen, I got let go from WNBC, my goodness, 9 years ago. It was horrible. It was just a horrible experience. I was blindsided. I had no idea it was coming. And that's okay. Things happen for a reason. Whether you were blindsided or not, it's still a huge, huge shock and burden to the people, your close friends, and yourself, Chris. And you get through it.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's life after this, and the industry itself. I mean, there are people who are virtually, vagabonds or gypsies running around from place to place to place. We were lucky to be able to stay in one market
for the time we did.
And in the market, the number one market in the country. So this has all been a blessing. This has all been wonderful. I grew up in New York. This was a dream come true. I got to work on the Today Show. I got to meet so many wonderful people over the years. I wouldn't do it any differently, including this experience. Chris, this is happening for a reason. Absolutely. It's all going to be good. We're going to figure this out, and live happily ever after.
Absolutely, it's getting through this time, and it's the attitude. And I know we're going into the psychological and philosophical portion of this right now.
We just lost people. Yeah,
we lost. It's zero.
On the couch with John and Chris.
On the couch. Well, actually, at the. Well, we'll figure something out. Let's just get back really quick and wrap this with weather one more time. I know people are just chiming in or getting in. The radar, which is about, let's say, go to the window, I would say about at least 45 minutes old right now. But it's telling the story with the heavy rain off the coast, with the area of low pressure that's developing, throwing back into the cold air. If you're raining right now in portions of Nassau County, extreme coastal Monmouth and Ocean, you will go over to snow. Correct?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. The rain snow line will transition gradually from west to east.
Gotcha.
I'm noticing out my window here. We talk about that banding. I seem to be in a little bit of a lull, a much lighter band.
Gotcha.
Looks like I have about now. I'm looking at a deck that's on the 8th floor, so not quite the boundary level, but I'm looking at close to 3/4 of an inch, between almost an inch had accumulated out of that band that I think was really only worth about an hour and a half. In terms of
and it will come back.
This is just the beginning, right?
Yeah, let's go to the short-term HRR, just for those viewers that are joining us right now. You see that area of dark blue. That is moderate to heavy snow. New York City is located right about there. Chris, I'm going to shrink you down one more time. We're putting this into motion. And Long Island, I love you, Chris. You'll be right back. We'll get into the action, but not until later tonight. Look at New York City. The area is a dark blue with the HRR. Band of moderate to heavy snow working down. Will that actually come to fruition? It's anybody's guess. Listen, we're two meteorologists with 60 years of experience in New York City. We do not know if that's going to go that far south. It's just the way it is. That's the atmosphere. One thing we do know, about 3 to 6 inches of snow, especially on the colder surfaces, will fall over the immediate New York City vicinity. Yeah, there'll be a couple pockets of 6+. Lighter amounts out east, Chris, and lighter amounts over central and southern New Jersey, where they're going to be a little bit out of the storm range. But
right,
anything else you want to add to this? Should we do this again?
Well, I think this is only the beginning. This is winter. Winter has just begun. Last year was kind of a strange one because we had that storm in November that again caught us a little bit off guard, to a lot off guard, depending on where you were.
Huge bust on my end, anyway.
Yeah, and that was just one of those things too. Again, it was rate of snowfall, timing of snowfall, and that type of thing.
Absolutely.
But and then last winter went to sleep. To be perfectly honest, it wasn't very exciting again. So we'll see what kind of a winter we have. I think we're going to have some challenges this particular go around. It's not going to be as easy a winter. Yep. But hey, look, I'm willing to do this on a sunny day, on a cold day. Whatever we want to chat about.
It's just nice having you. It's nice having you out there. People chiming in and seeing your face again and hearing your intellect and wit and.
We'll work on one of those. But
yes,
one at a time. Let's go.
Absolutely. So anyway, we got the snow falling right now. Be careful driving.
Absolutely.
And we've got Chris Cimino here and John Marshall just talking to you guys. As we said, real quick, we're going to wrap this up one more time. We're expecting a general.
I'll get
you, Chris, in a second.
Okay.
3 to 6 inches of snow by 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. The general New York City vicinity within about a 45 to 50 mile radius, pockets of 6 north and west, lighter amounts eastern Long Island and south coastal New Jersey. Chris, it's been great.
Same here.
I'll give you a call right after this call.
Yeah, we'll check in after this. But I've got to work on my last turkey dish, turkey tetrazzini tonight. That's it. I'm done with the turkey. Enough with the turkey.
I got to stop eating that pie in the refrigerator, bro. It's like constantly.
Oh, you're one of those guys.
The spoon is in there. All right,
we'll talk about that later.
Yes, Chris. Good seeing you, audience, followers.
Thanks,
we love you guys. Take care.
Nice to see you.